All right, and this is Drive Safe Dave back with Amanda. It's Schuier, right? Did I get that right?
Schuer, shoe on your foot, or
Yeah, Schuier.
Schuer.
Yeah,
Good
it
job.
looks like a German name. So
It is. It
yeah,
is.
yeah, it looks like Schuier. So I think I had that right. Okay, you are the director of employee engagement at Jetco Delivery. Is that correct?
That is correct. Can I give you my score prediction?
Yes,
Okay. You're not going to like it, though.
I know.
Georgia, 27. TCU, 24.
Wow, that's a
What do
lot
you think?
closer than most. I no,
Well,
I think
That at least it's close. I
no,
can
no, I
live with
like that, Amanda. Yeah, that's not bad. You want mine, Amanda, right now? I'm going to go 47 Georgia, and I'm going to go 23 TCU. That's not how I want it to turn out.
yeah.
That's not how I want it to turn out. That's just what my prediction is. Now, I'll be rooting. Does that make sense? I'll be rooting over there, waiting for the fumbles, waiting for the
Yeah.
interceptions, waiting for the mistakes on special teams, so that the other team can come back and just make me a fool and make a better score.
If
So let
you're
me ask you a
saying
question.
47, that's like a super unique football score, but we'll
It
go
is
with it.
it is my super unique. I think it's going to be one of those times when it just is super unique.
That's cool.
I think they're going to be field goals and kick touchdowns, and I think it's just going to be mixed around.
It's
So
going to be fun.
that's my weird number.
I'll
By the
go
way,
with it.
I felt like it was necessary to do a prime number on my score prediction.
Prime numbers. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been in school with math, but I'm with you. Okay.
Okay, Amanda, I want to ask you a question. Here it is.
Yeah.
This is my
Yeah.
number. First of all, I want to tout some of your accomplishments because I think they're important. And these may not be big to you, but these are some of the things that I find very important. Number
Sure.
one, you were a finalist for Women in Trucking's Most Influential Woman of the Year in 2021.
Yes.
I think that's pretty awesome. You serve on an A-Tree advisory committee,
Yes.
and you received your TMC Silver Spark Plug in March of 2022.
Yes.
You are also part of the lead ATA 2023 class roster.
Correct.
Wow. And not only that, what I do like is that you're also a fourth generation trucking industry veteran. Is that correct?
Yes. Yes.
First of all, let's hear your pedigree in the trucking industry and who among you from which you came was in this industry.
So I brought show and tell because my dad just gave this to me last week. So this is a patch from my grandfather's trucking company. So I am, no, my great grandfather. Let me get it right. Great grandfather. So I am fourth generation, my great grandfather, my grandfather, my uncle, and then me. So I am fourth generation. The family story is that my great grandfather owned a trucking company. And then my grandfather actually opened a Mac dealership out in Pennsylvania. And then my dad is a dentist. So, whatever. And then I fell into it actually when I started back in trucking, which is now going on my 17th year. So,
Wow. I didn't even realize you were much older than 17 just by the
thank
way. Yes.
I appreciate that. So this patch is actually my dad told me from the 1950s, which like this is now in the last week has just become this symbol to me of my family and the industry and like why I'm involved in it. It means that much to me.
Wow,
So
I think that's great. By the way, and I'm just going to let you know, Amanda, back then, truck drivers in those trucks in the 50s, their arms were like this big around because those steering wheels were hard to turn.
yeah,
They weren't, there wasn't power steering and power brakes and all the things that you think of. It just was a little bit harder back then. I am amazed that they were able to do the things that they did back then. Well, congratulations
thank you.
on that, and 16 years in the industry. So tell me, before we go any further,
Sure.
what is an employee engagement director? What
This
is
is
it?
my favorite. This is my most asked question. Like, if
Because
you
I
could,
thought the paycheck was the employee engagement.
amen. That's when I hear about it. If it's not right, if the paycheck's wrong, then I come into play. No, it's not all about pay. And like honestly, I think to brag on Jetco a little bit, I think in the industry, I'm starting to see the engagement title, but I'm starting to see it at big trucking companies, right? And so I think a shout out to Jetco, and my boss Kyle for giving me the opportunity to really explore this position. It's a new position at Jetco, and I'm almost a year in. And in the year, I think, we were just talking at breakfast this morning, how many different places this position has gone. And so just like safety is critical to the culture at Jetco and is, interwoven through every department, that is engagement in a nutshell. And so I get to work with every single department in the company and really explore, what keeps our employees happy. Why do our employees leave for other companies? What are training and development things that we can do internally to really grow? And I think one of the cool things that we've done is it's not just office employees, but it's also for drivers. So when we talk about, career paths for drivers, a lot of times in the office we don't think about those. So, this morning I got an email from a driver saying, "Hey, I heard there might be an office position open." And so, me thinking about opening those positions to the office or two drivers for office positions, just opening it up and talking about our culture and why we're involved. So the engagement title, like I said, it's becoming a thing now, and so I feel very cutting edge and just really lucky to be a part of it.
And I get that. How do you fit into the job of being the engagement director? I mean, for you, right? I mean, obviously, if I was a truck driver, I'd have to be pretty good at driving a truck, which I am. But how do you fit into the job? Because I think sometimes it's important to fit the right person in the right job, right? So,
Sure.
what is it about you that makes you the great director of employee engagement?
So in my almost 17 years in trucking, the only two things I haven't done is driven legally around parking lots, but anyway, not over the road, right? And then wrenched, and I have done some preventive maintenance inspections too. But so those are the only two roles in trucking companies that I haven't held. So just prior to Jetco, I was basically running a very small trucking company, and so I think like where I fit in is because I've done most every role at a company, including dispatching, including road breakdown, including HR and recruiting and all of that stuff. I'm able to put myself in the shoes of most of our employees and not necessarily say like you're doing it wrong or anything like that, but just have you thought about XYZ and kind of try to bring out the best in everyone, if that makes sense. So performance coaching kind of, and just because I've been through a lot of different scenarios, in trucking, in my experience, high volume driver recruiting, which let me tell you, as we know, driver recruiting is tough. I survived that, and now that's changed, how I view driver recruiting a lot on a daily basis. But yeah, I think because of my varied experience, I think I'm a good fit for engagement because I get to go in a lot of different places, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, and I probably would guess that you're a pretty good listener too to the people in which you try to get engaged, right? I mean, in order to find things that are holding them back, barring them from being just all in. We go to our job, we work our job, but each of us finds some sense of self-worth in our role in whatever we do in society. I truly believe that. I find that if you have a job and you do it well, it's better for you, right? And I think two of those go hand in hand. Not only are you helping them love their job more but you're also helping them do a better job for the company, right? I mean, they like fold on top of one another,
100%.
right?
Engaged employees are safe employees. Engaged employees are happy and productive employees. 100%. 100%.
Dude, what are some of the rewards you get from being the engagement officer or the director over there? Tell me. I mean, obviously, I mean, I want to know. I want to know what you really get out of it, because there's got to be some great stuff that most of us don't get to do.
a giant cookie. Like, I'm trying to think of something that's like a tangible reward. No, and like, so I don't want to be corny and cliche, but I think that because I love the trucking industry, I think for me, the mentoring and teaching comes naturally. And so in my role, I'm a people person, right? I mean, obviously you've guessed that in like the 5 minutes we've been talking. So when I'm able to teach and train and coach, that for me is truly satisfying. I mean, so when I started in this industry, I was a 23-year-old female that knew very little about the industry. And I fell in love with it. And like I said, through my career, it's been so amazing to me. And so for me as an engagement director, like to be able to give that back to our employees and to find them the right roles that bring out their talents, I mean, that genuinely is rewarding to me. And that's not lip service. Promise.
I believe you, 100. You got me engaged, Amanda. You got me.
Tell my boss. Tell my boss.
Okay, so and some of the things that you spoke of, and I think it's very important that some of the things that you mentioned, and I want to jump on some of these. Number one, and I said that you were a part of the Lead ATA 2023 class roster. First of all, I want you to explain what it is and why it's important to you.
Yeah, so Lead ATA is a leadership program through the American Trucking Association. And so I just started in October at MC&E. My class was announced. And so we're in a 1-year leadership program that is really intensive and I'm really excited about. But basically, we learn kind of the inner workings of the American Trucking Association, learn about the regulatory process. We get media relations training. We get to talk about, why we love the industry so much and just really kind of help us figure out in our careers where our path in trucking, I guess, could go. And so it's a really great program. I think this year's class is the biggest class. And then also we have over 40% female in this year's class, which I'm excited about just because I think too, since I joined the industry, I'm seeing a lot of change and diversity in our ranks, which is awesome. And so I'm really excited about that as well. So, yeah.
Also, what does your role, and here's another one because there's so much to talk about with what you do. What does your role involve at TMC and are there any other females on the board of directors?
So I'm going to give you a quiz in like the acronym soup of what I do. So TMC is actually part of the American Trucking Association. So TMC is the Technology and Maintenance Council. So we're a sub-council of the ATA. And so I actually got involved with TMC way back in the day when I was working at a Freightliner dealer and we were trying to create a diesel tech competition. So I started going to TMC and just really, again, fell in love with the people. I spent 4 years selling parts to kind of the people who attend TMC, got really active in that group. And so I am the only female on the board of directors, and I'm the only female officer. And so I'm the chairman of study groups there. And so my responsibility is to oversee all of the study group chairmen. So our study groups are basically technical content areas. And in TMC, our goal usually is to create recommended practices for the industry and kind of the maintenance and engineering field. So really the shop technicians, the shop managers, how our equipment is spec'd, how our equipment is built, those kinds of things. So that is a subject that isn't totally in my daily wheelhouse, but is absolutely probably my biggest passion in the industry. So
do you have so you talk about this and I think it's awesome because the TMC is, to me, wouldn't normally be something you would associate with females. I mean, I don't mean that. No, I don't mean that in a bad way.
Sure.
I just think that when you say car keys, you have a mental image in your mind, right? It's just a mental image. And when you say diesel mechanic, you have a mental image in your mind, and it typically, and I know this sounds sexist, but you have an image of a guy over a big diesel engine, working on it, right? I mean, and I think it's awesome that you're busting those ideas and those mental images apart when you're the person, not only when we're talking about this stuff, it's women talking about this stuff, women involved in this stuff, and really, that's kind of where I'm trying to get to in all of this, is because that's what we're doing here today. Is we're discussing women in the industry and how we're going to break these mental images.
Yes. Yeah. So when I started in TMC, the organization in its history, just under 100 years, in 1939, it was founded. It's had one female chairman, Peggy Fisher, awesome. I would like to be the second chair. And to your point, I think it's a continual, what am I looking for? Just women not being afraid of asking questions and learning more and taking over some responsibility in the industry. And like, that being said, most of what I've learned in the industry, quite honestly, has been from male mentors. So, I think there's like a balance, right? And I think, though, that I will say that, again, the diversity from when I started in the industry 17 years ago to now has changed so much. And that's not just women, that's minorities. Just the diversity in general of our industry is really changing. And like, that's cool. Like that's cool. Even the image, what you said of a diesel mechanic, like what you have in your head is not really what today's technician is. And so like getting the younger generation to buy into trucking careers, whether that's driving or technicians or working in the office, like we as an industry have to make trucking jobs and careers more appealing, because I go to career fairs and I'm standing next to the doctors and the lawyers and the nurses, and no disrespect to them, but like nobody comes up to Amanda who's talking about trucking, right? And so like we have a responsibility to fix that and change that.
I think you're on the right path, because I truly believe that talent and intellect and abilities, I think they come from everywhere.
100%.
And I think if we are going to want this industry to not only succeed, but to be the very best industry, which I think it has the opportunity to be, I think it's going to take all of those people. And I don't care from whence it came, we need to find it. And I do like the idea, and that's the reason you're on here today, to talk about women in the industry and what they're doing to make it different. Do you mentor now at all? And do you believe in mentorship when it comes to women or anyone in this industry?
Sure, 100%. Like no question in my mind would I be where I am today without the mentors who have guided me. And so any opportunity that I have or get to mentor young women, not even young women, women in general in the industry, I will take that on. So when I was nominated for the most influential woman for women in trucking, I got an email from a lady who said, "Hey, Amanda, would you be open to having coffee with me at Women in Trucking?" And her name's Carrie, and we're now good friends. She approached me like that, and I was like, wow, that kind of just putting yourself out there. Like I think that's what I probably most encourage women in the industry to do is just have these conversations, like network and meet people and have a mentor who absolutely will tell it to you like it is. And I think the more of us who've kind of been in the industry for a while and are willing to give back, I just think that that's beneficial, for everyone. It is mentoring and engagement are like, they go hand in hand, right? So yeah, it's definitely in my wheelhouse for sure.
I got something for you. First of all, I want you to tell Carrie I believe her to be very brave.
I do too. 100%.
To be able to do that, to be able to just put yourself out there and say, "Hey, look, do you mind if I ask you some questions?" I think there's a wow moment for you, right?
I literally have goosebumps right now. And you know what? She just had a career change and she landed and she's just in a great spot. And so I hope she's watching. I don't know if she is, but if not, I'll tell her. But yeah, we talk. Now this has been a year and I don't know 4 months that we've carried on the conversation. And like you said, she put herself out there. So
I think truly each of us has an opportunity to make themselves vulnerable, to make themselves better.
Yes.
Rarely do we. I mean, and you're talking to an old truck driver. I think it's important that we all find ways to be vulnerable in order to better ourselves. And I think if we do
Yeah.
what?
It's hard to do. It's hard
Oh,
to make yourself vulnerable. 100%.
Oh
100%.
yeah, yeah. I
But
just the only person I'm trying not to be too vulnerable to my kids.
yeah.
When do you consider? And here I'm gonna got one last question for you. Why do you consider yourself the cheerleader for all women entering into the industry?
Well, I don't. That's a little too over the top. I'm not like the cheerleader for women in the industry by any means,
Oh, you should
but like, well, thank you. But like what we've been talking about. I mean, none of this is like secret sauce or made up stuff. It's just I just genuinely care about the trucking industry, and again, I just have passion for the industry in general. And so women getting involved in the industry because it's been so good to me and my career, again, it is nothing but my desire to give that back and to see other women advance because eventually I'm not going to be here and like there's going to be women who are going to follow me in my footsteps. And my big goal is always find my replacement and keep it going because it's been so good to me.
I think that's great. I appreciate you coming out. If I have an opportunity, I want to bring you back because I want to talk about what compelled you to join and get involved in the AT and the other trucking organizations to find pathway to that because I think that's an important conversation to have outside
100%.
of just women in trucking. So I want to do that. I mean, we have the ATA on, we have members of that, but I think it's important to also find people that get involved. Because I think each of us in this industry have to get involved with our trucking associations on a local level, on a state level, and on a national level in order to better ourselves, this industry, across the country. Because we do have a difficult fight on our hands to be the very best. I mean, we do. I mean, and to better our image. And Amanda, thank you so much for joining us today. A true pleasure to not only meet you for the first time, but also to visit with you. I do ask all my guests before they leave to state their name, who they're with, and that you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation. Can you do that for me?
Okay, I'll try. Hi, I'm Amanda Schuier, Director of Employee Engagement at Jetco Delivery, and you're watching BCB Live, the safest station in the nation.
That's how you say it. That's how you say it.
Yes.
That's how you say it. Thanks, Amanda.
You're welcome. Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.